What's up, y'all? You're now tuning in to the P. Rice Show, 89.5 FM WSKB on your dial. And we got a very special guest tonight, and he goes by the name E.S.P. What's up, man?
Hey, yo, what up?
How's it going, y'all?
Chillin'.
Familiar stomping grounds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so welcome back to Westfield, man.
Thanks, man.
Oh, how's it going? So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody what you're all about.
I'm E.S.P, a.k.a. Weapon E.S., from Southbridge, Mass. I started rhyming when I was about 12, kicking freestyles and whatnot. Got real serious into writing about 3 years ago. I got my first album about to come out probably about a month. Don't quote me on that.
So what's the title of your debut album?
It's going to be Weapon of Mass Production.
Weapon of Mass Production.
Yeah.
A lot of hype about it in the streets. Are you getting out there?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of shows before the album's going to drop, and I met a lot of people, made some good connections and everything like that, so people have been really waiting on it, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely. So just connections by just doing shows and just networking and getting yourself out there.
Pretty much, like when I do a show, it's not, people don't know me yet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, my biggest thing is meeting people that are on the same level as me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to make connections for beats, collaborations, anything like that,
Yeah, anyone trying to do the same thing as you.
Exactly, yeah.
So you said you're coming from Southbridge. Was there any kind of local hip hop scene when you were growing up there at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. There was some hungry MCs, at the age of 14, 15 in my town,
Yeah.
And they're doing the thing right now too in the underground, so they're getting some notice throughout the Boston, Massachusetts area and whatnot, and globally. So
Like what would be a few names?
Well, I don't know if you guys would know him unless you did some serious research, but
underground hip hop.
This dude named Hayes, he's from the same town as me. He's doing real good. He's in this group called Main Aim. He's excellent. He sounds like an old school Nas, circa '93.
Nice.
You know what I mean? This kid can kill it. And then this dude named A.P. Me and him are not in the best terms right now.
Damn, why is that? Would you rather not speak on it?
I don't want to speak on it. I got a track that speaks for itself on the album, but you guys check that out. You know what I'm talking about.
Little beef.
little beef. Minor beef. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. Not too crazy. Let's keep the music though. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. So you said, what would you say? What age did you exactly really get into hip hop music?
Probably 11 or 12. I really started listening to hip hop. Definitely early 90s, caught me. You know what I mean? Like the golden era of hip hop. It definitely got me. Tribe Called Quest. Digging in the Crates. Big L. all these artists. Big Pun. Mos Def and Talib Kweli, Black Star, old school Nas, old school Jay-Z, Common, all these artists,
Yeah, I feel that. What do you guys say about some of the artists that inspired you? For the ones that are still putting records out nowadays, you still think that they're keeping the game up there? Let's say Jay-Z for an example. What did you think of his new release?
I didn't care for it personally. The thing is he's someone like that and someone like an Eminem. They're so well known, everyone knows their voice so well. Yeah. They can pretty much say anything at this point, and people are going to listen to it.
And dig it either way.
Yeah, and someone like Jay-Z, if you watch how he changed, when he first started out, he was real hungry, and he was a hustler, and he talked about that. But he lives a different life now. Now he's this rich guy who goes on crazy vacations all the time. You know what I mean? He has an R&B singer wife. It's a different lifestyle. He created a different world for himself, so that's all he rants about now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't blame him for being true to himself. That's what he rants about. You know what I mean? But do any of us that aren't rich know about it? No,
can't relate to it.
Can't really relate to it.
No, that's for sure. So, how would you say your sound is on your music? What's the vibe that you bring to the table?
I definitely have an old school vibe, but I got these beat makers that got something serious, man. They're on another level right now. It's I would say it's 90s hip hop, but with a twist of some new flavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some modern flavor. Definitely, for sure.
Definitely lyrical, definitely abstract. You know what I mean? I'm not right in your face, you understand it right away. You might have to dissect my lyrics a little bit. You know what I mean? But definitely keeping it real hip hop. I don't know if everyone knows what that means nowadays, but you know what I mean?
So give your definition of real hip-hop. I feel like there's so many definitions. You see people arguing on YouTube comments about what's real hip-hop.
My
it's
definition
ridiculous.
of real hip-hop is not watered down music. You know what I mean? It's songs with concepts, like real ideas, real emotions, real beats. I'm into sampling personally, as you know what I mean? Like, exactly. I respect, you know, people that play their own instruments and everything like that, but I love when a producer can really dig and find that little snippet on a record and flip it to make an amazing beat. You know what I mean? I think that's amazing.
Like loop just 10 seconds
with some boom bap drums. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm into. That's what I like, and that's what I'm gonna stick to. I think. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, sticking to the roots, man. So you keep talking about the producers that you're working with. They're hot, man. So drop a few names, man. If you.
Like I said, you might not know them, but you will know them.
Yeah,
I guarantee
definitely.
you will know these cats. You know, I got this dude.
So take notes.
Take notes, yeah. I got this dude. I'll talk about the guys that have a couple beats, and I'll talk about my main two producers that I have now. I got this dude, Kevin Soul. Goes by Kev Soul from Worcester. He actually, one of the tracks we're going to play tonight called Legend Born. He produced the track. It's real jazzy. You know, he's a young cat. He's only like 18 years old.
Oh, damn,
you know what I mean? 18 years old. With, you know, he's been making beats on Fruity Loops, you know, since he was like 13. He's got mad skills, and you know, he hooked me up with a beat, and I blessed it. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
And that's the only track I got with him, but I definitely will work with him in the future too. This dude named New Element from Worcester, Mass. Too. He's like, once again, a young dude, 18 years old, fire beats. You know what I mean? He has hundreds and hundreds of beats. You know, you can check him out on SoundClick, SoundCloud, New Element. He's got beats for sale, beats for lease. It's something serious. I definitely recommend any aspiring MCs to check him out.
I was going to say, the name sounds actually kind of familiar. I was going to ask if any of these guys put any of their productions up on SoundClick, because there's booming producers on that website. I even think I hear big-time rappers even use some of the beats. I think maybe even Trey used one of the beat.
Yeah, I mean, you know, these guys, that happens, you know what I mean? It catches the ears of some, you know, famous artists, and they'll rock it, and that's how producers get known. You know, producers don't really get enough credit, to be honest with you.
I agree.
And MCs really take advantage of them, and it's not right, you know?
Exactly, especially in today's hip-hop. Like, the producers in today's mainstream hip-hop game really, I think, the stuff you hear on the radio, the rappers depend on the producers to make the beats.
True.
Especially for those rappers that don't have those lyrical elements to them and can't, you know, shine in the microphone really. They might have tight flows and make a little catchy jingle, but they really depend on the beat to really.
Yeah, and you know, most of the beats I hear on the radio nowadays are real overproduced. You know what I mean? Any singers you hear are auto-tune. Everything is overproduced, and if you listen back to, like, you know, classic hip hop album. 36 Chambers, Enter the 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang. That album is raw, you know what I mean? That sounds like they recorded it in some basement with like cobwebs and whatnot, you know what I mean? That's what I like, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff, that raw sound. I'd rather have that all day than, you know, what I've been hearing on the radio.
Yeah,
you know?
It's something that's been manufactured pretty much, processed through a factory. Like, I like the town sound too, the real underground homemade sound. Definitely, absolutely. So, would you want to play one of the tracks off your upcoming debut?
Well, let me talk about my other producers.
You want to talk about it?
I want to talk about my other producers real quick.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I got one dude named Sleepquill. This kid, it's a crazy name, but let me tell you, he makes it cool. This guy, he's got 8 beats on my album right now, and he is. You know, I heard him do this one track with that dude New Element, and when I heard him, I immediately had to contact this guy. He's just like, reminds me of like an MF Doom, Madlib. You know what I mean? Like Far Side, West Coast, like laid back hip hop type sound.
Oh, my favorite.
He's just, you know what I mean? Like, he's just excellent at what he does. And he's like 19 years old, you know what I mean? Killing it. Absolutely killing it. Yeah, no one knows about this guy. He is literally a hidden gem. He's got 8 beats on my album, and I tell you right now, they're going to be heard.
So what's his name again?
Sleepquill. Sleepquill, like NyQuil.
Yeah.
But Sleepquill, you know what I mean? I don't really know why he did that name, but to me, it's dope.
No, it sounds well. It flows
I think
well.
It's catchy,
I like it.
You know what I mean? Some people may not think so, but I think so, and I think he's gonna be. You know, look at like certain artists' name, like Lil Wayne. Terrible name, but is he big? He's huge. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, even Little John, he was big.
Exactly.
He was doing crunk juice.
Exactly. But then I got this other dude. He's from Canada. He's real, like, you know what I mean? People around here may not know about him right now. But he's doing a lot of big things with underground artists, especially big ones in Canada, like the top artists in Canada. His name is Fresh Kills.
Fresh
And
Kills.
the first song we're gonna play right now, it's called Tundra, and he actually remixed the beat because originally I had this song on a beat that wasn't original. You know what I mean? I couldn't use it
Yeah,
because I only like to use original beats. I can't sell beats. You know what I mean? And he remixed it and absolutely killed it.
Oh, awesome.
And me and this guy are gonna be working a lot, together in the future. He's doing 4 beats right now on my album. That's actually what I'm waiting on. He's remixing 2 other songs for me right now, and after that, it's a wrap. I'm gonna get it mastered. I'll be all set, man.
So that's awesome, man. But how'd you make the connection with him?
With Fresh Kills,
Yeah,
it's pretty
up in
dope
Canada.
actually. I was doing a show out in New Haven, Connecticut, with this group called Political Animals, who is well known in that area. They have a song on ESPN right now. They're opening up for Lupe Fiasco on the 10th.
Nice.
Real dope live bands. It's kind of like the Roots, you know what I mean? Like live band.
Feel that.
emcee. I met them, and when I rocked the show, I met the lead MC from Political Animals, and he hooked me up with another show because he liked my style. We also talked about doing songs in the future, and when I rocked the show, he had this guy named Fresh Kills and this other guy named Durazo, which are 2 beat makers, and what they do is they travel around the U.S., like I say, he's from Canada, travel around the U.S., and they literally just make beats live in front of you on an MPC. So that's all they do, and they're that talented, they just make beats live. It's like freestyling, but with beats. And he's amazing on the MPC.
And they make it out into like kind of a concert thing.
Oh
right?
yeah, well if you check him out on YouTube, he's got this one track called "The Price Is Right." You know what I mean? It's a Price Is Right routine.
Hell yeah.
He uses like Adam Sandler a little bit, samples him a little bit, and then goes into the Bob Barker thing, and then goes into like this ridiculous soulful hip hop beat. But if you listen to my tracks, like his beats, I mean, Sleep Cold, they're all dope. This guy right now, Fresh Kills, is just like this guy is a top producer. He's my favorite producer right now. I've heard in the last like 10 years.
Damn.
So drop that first track. Let's
All right,
show
definitely.
show
It's
what's
called
going on.
Tundra. Coming off the upcoming Weapon of Mass Production debut by E.S.P. Check it out, y'all.
Yeah.
Yo, that was Tundra, produced by Fresh Kills by E.S.P. And man, that track was banging. I really liked that. That was a funky produced beat
Thanks,
for
man.
sure.
Thanks. Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, that's the kind of music I do right there.
Hell yeah, nice little sample there, and we even got more coming later on into the show.
Oh, yeah.
So, yo, for the peeps that didn't understand the lyrics, what would you say Tundra was about? What made you write that song?
Well, in my hometown, people didn't always do the right thing, and that's kind of what I was trying to express. In a way, trying to talk to my boys, out of doing the wrong thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to escape that lifestyle, trying to find a way, trying to find something else besides getting trapped in the wrong environment. You know what I mean? Trying to break out of that.
Yeah, break out of the negative environment.
I think it speaks for itself what it's about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't really have to say the words, but we all know what it's about.
Yeah, real recognize real, man, for sure. So, man, this goes into, how would you say you write your lyrics? Like, do you sit down and brainstorm what you're going to write, or do you free write it? And, nowadays a lot of rappers seem to brag about just going into the studio and winging it. Like,
nah, I don't do that.
I freestyling it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It all depends, like sometimes it'll hit me right away. I'll write a song in an hour, whole song, hook and everything. Sometimes it takes me a month to write a song. You know what I mean? It's never like one formula.
Nah, definitely.
And I don't just freestyle songs.
Nah.
I don't really think anybody does that personally. I don't really believe that Jay-Z does that.
No. They definitely got to take a few takes. I've tried to do it myself. You can only do it for so long. Then it's
because you can freestyle, but a real freestyle is like talking about some random things. You know what I mean? It's hard to get deep into a concept or an idea and let all your words connect and your concepts connect when you're just freestyling. But
exactly.
I think it's an art form, though, definitely. But as far as writing, I would say, I definitely find the beat first. I make sure I like the beat. I try to ask myself what the beat's telling me, what kind of story the beat's telling me, and then I develop my concept. And sometimes I start with a hook, but most of the time I write my first verse and then I come up with the hook. You know what I mean? And usually, I'll be at work or something like that, and I'll have like 2 ill lines come to me, and those will be my opening lines. And I don't even start writing until I got those 2 opening lines, and then I go from there. Once I get about 3-4 lines in, I know I got the whole verse figured out in my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
And since I'm also a writer myself, there's been times where I've just I'm about to go to bed, and then I'm just lying there in bed. And I just think of like a couple of lines, and it's like, oh, No, I would have to wake up and
Then
write it
suck when you
down
forget
real
them, no,
quick.
right?
And sometimes I would forget them because I'll just remember when I wake up in the morning. I wake up completely just lost my mind.
Oh, yeah. I've had so many ill lines escape me. It's ridiculous.
It's horrible. I wrote a whole album once, and I've had it erased on my computer because it broke down. But
you kept the lyrics though, right?
no, everything was erased. I didn't have it backed up on a drive, but that was way back in middle school.
That's
so
crazy,
if I was to look back at those lyrics now, I don't think I would have been crying today as I was back then.
Yeah, I know. What can you talk about in middle school? It's kind of tough.
Yeah, no, I was just pretty much just trying to show off lyrical ability.
Oh, definitely. That's dope.
So, what are some of the topics you talk about on your debut?
Well, something similar to, Tundra. I talk about that kind of stuff. I got one track I'm going to play tonight. It's called Nothing Makes Sense. That one, it's about growing up, the kind of things you face, trials and tribulations you face, and, trying to overcome that. A lot of my songs have a positive message. It talks about darker themes, has darker themes in it, but there's a positive message overall to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't glorify the life I used to live, I would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try to change it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you try to be a good role model, get a positive message.
Exactly. I want a positive message, but I also talk about what I actually see in my environment, what I've experienced, and the people in my life that were close to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Every song, I think there's only a couple songs that's just straight spitting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll play one song tonight. It's just straight lyrics, straight spitting, because that's the essence of hip hop. You know what I mean? So not every song has to be some deep story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I got some guests on. I got one song that's a storytelling song. I got another song that's kind of like a diss, but it's actually based off of religious themes. And I'm not religious. I'm not religious at all, to be honest with you. But I got knowledgeable about the subjects, and I added it into my
opinion.
It's real deep.
Yo, so you mentioned you had some guests on the debut. Who would be some of the guests you got featured on it?
I don't have too many guests. Actually, I only have, I think, 4 songs that have guests, and 2 of them are MCs and one's a singer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I got that dude Sleepwell,
mm-hmm.
and the other producer New Element. They also rap too, and they're very talented, and they're they're on the same style as me, on the same tip, same vibe. I got Sleepwell on one track, just me and him telling a story. It's called Bedtime Stories. It's ill, ridiculous beat by Sleepwell. And I got this other track called Tesseract with Sleepwell and New Element, and it's just straight spitting, you know what I mean? But it shows off the skills we have lyrically, on a real chill, laid back, ambient type beat,
Yeah.
And then I got 2 tracks with actually my girlfriend. Her name's Natalie Jones, amazing singer. She's got crazy soul in her voice, very talented. She does her own thing, but I dragged her into. She inspired me really to start writing songs seriously, because I heard her songs, her originals, and she's just ridiculously talented. And I'm not just saying that because she's my girl, but she's ridiculously talented. I'm actually gonna play one song tonight that's gonna feature her on it, and I have another song that's being remixed by that producer, Fresh Kills, and he's killing the beat, and she just kills the chorus, and she writes her own stuff. I don't write it for her. She takes care of that. She's very talented lyrically. Amazing voice. So I'm blessed to have her as to do hooks for me. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome, man. No, I think it's great that you two can collaborate, and also even have a relationship. So that's very special. That's awesome. 2 musicians working together. So this was good. So I would say, is this release? It's obviously an indie release, right? An independent release. It's not under a major distribution.
No, it's not. I mean. That's what I'm hoping for, you know what I mean? I'm hoping that someone picks it up and it's I want to do this. I want to get this out there, you know what I mean?
Are you going to send it into any demos to any actual record labels?
Oh, definitely. It's going to be official. It's like a CD that you're going to buy in the store. It's going to be wrapped up. I'm going the whole 9 yards, you know what I mean?
No, I
and it's going to look official, and it's going to sound official. So I'm going to send it to them. I'll send them. I wish I could send them vinyl. That'd be dope, but it costs too much money to make vinyl. I don't got money like that. You know what I mean?
No.
But I'm gonna send them that. I'm gonna send them CDs and maybe cassettes. Try to catch their eyes, because cassettes is something different. It catches whoa, who sent me a cassette? You know what I mean? It's old school, but underground. They look for underground labels and stuff. They're looking for something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they see an official CD, I'm also going to send them links to my, Bandcamp that I'm going to have, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff.
All your pages, yeah. So,
I've done research on it, you know what I mean. They want the CD. They want the CD. They don't want just a link. They'll just skip over the link. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, they want the full package.
Exactly.
They want to see.
And I'll send them like a profile of myself. You know what I mean? The whole
resume.
package.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. So, you have any specific labels in mind? Are you?
I would love to get signed to like a Rhyme Sayers. To me, that would be amazing. They got like MF Doom, Atmosphere, just those kind of artists. Like they can be creative as they want, and they don't limit their creativity by the label they're on.
Souls, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they can do whatever they want because people like it, because people like that kind of stuff. It just doesn't get commercial response because radio stations don't want to play conscious hip hop. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You want to play the same top 10 Billboard 100 or whatever,
Exactly.
I mean, when I'm back home, I turn on 94.5. It's just annoying. I legit hear the same tracks every couple hours.
Exactly.
Like, I think they even play in the same order.
And you hope to hear like one old school track.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
And never. People are always like, oh, they have an old school hour in the afternoon. I never hear it. I always miss it somehow.
Yeah.
But you can rely on the P. Rice show for that. We always playing some fast underground old school tracks. So, man, you go to a studio, obviously, to do all your recordings. So does that studio have anything to do with actually producing out your album, or are you just doing it yourself? Like,
what do you mean?
Like
coming up with like ideas for the song and whatnot?
No, like selling the album out of the trunk. Like, are you gonna put the label
of
the studio that you recorded at on?
Yeah,
to your
I
work,
might.
definitely.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna include it written somewhere. It's gonna say recorded at. I recorded at the Stu 860 in Enfield, Connecticut.
Yeah.
It's a dope spot, and there's this guy named John Dillinger over there, and he really, he's put some input on some of my songs that have made them a lot catchier. Because he's also like, he makes his own music too. If he hears something, and he sees people, recording all the time, so he knows how a song can be constructed really well. He knows how to sometimes he'll just throw the chorus in the beginning sometimes, and just catch me off guard. Wow, that sounds dope. You know what I mean? He'll drop the beat in certain spots, something like that.
So, is he a hip-hop artist, too?
He's a hip-hop artist. He's a little different than I am. He's not as underground. He's more commercial sounding, but it's okay. He's good. He's talented. And there's a lot of good artists that actually go over there and record. I recommend it to anybody that's trying to make an album. Definitely hit up the Stu 860 in Enfield. They're actually going to have another location in Chicopee pretty soon, too. So that'd be good for people out in the Westfield area and whatnot.
Yeah, so... You know how much they charge for studio time, or
yeah, it's $35 an hour.
$35 an hour.
Yeah, and there's deals if you get more hours. There's better deals,
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll have a deal like Tuesday, 2 for $50, 2 hours for $50, something like that. You know what I mean?
No, that's definitely popping. They definitely got it going on. That's fresh. So, before we play another track by you, I want to ask this one question. As an artist, since we already talked about your inspirations and who influenced you as an artist, so as an artist yourself, who do you think you're similar to? Or if you don't think you're similar to any other artist, why do you believe that?
That's tough. Man, I feel like I would say I got my most influence, like my style, the way I flow and whatnot, from like a Big Pun, a Common. I would say I'm like a mixture of Pun, Common, even Cannabis sometimes. Pun, Common, Cannabis, and like an R.A. the Rugged Man. I don't know if many people know R.A. the Rugged Man.
Nah, I've never even heard of him.
Yeah, he's an underground dude, but he's ridiculous, and if you listen to him, you can hear my influence. The way sometimes I'll spit real fast. My cadence is pretty crazy. It's like you wonder how I even keep my breath. That if you listen to him, same thing with Pun, like dead in the middle, a little did we know that we riddle to middlemen, diddly. That kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying?
No, even on the track which I played, the very first track on the show tonight, Applaud, which had you on the second verse, you just kept going and going and going with the flow.
Yeah.
And I was even thinking, how does he do that?
Yeah, I actually have that verse that I was talking to you about earlier.
Yeah.
And I actually have that verse on another track we're going to play tonight called Perception. And I added a little bit to it, but it's pretty crazy how my breath control, it's nuts on that. So we'll play that a little bit later.
We'll play that a little bit later. So what's the next track you want to kick off for us?
Next track is called Nothing Makes Sense. And like I said, it's all about growing up. That's what it's all about.
Right, for sure.
Check it out.
Blasted like glasses with special attachments. I used to dip from school cause of them boom brain laughs. Knowledge lost but action should have read up. Instead my flow and style developed. Hit up, lace a core when I tore through ciphers. Cool just sleeping on my pores. Freestyle over rhyme.
Make sure you say it's produced by Sleep.
Produced by
Sleep.
Out the industry clothes. Yeah, when I went home, my pops is focused on how fast I throw. The ace on the mound, assigned 12 rounds to athletics. Surrounded by egotistical meatheads. The money was tight. Yet this life didn't feel right. Lyme disease struck. I got released. That's when I started scrapping.
I'm probably gonna ask like, how are you gonna like sell your album? Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna sell it. I'm actually, well, first of all, if anyone from Westfield State's actually listening to this, I'm gonna be going to Westfield State next semester.
Oh, really?
In January, so I'm gonna bring it everywhere.
Hell yeah,
You know what I mean? If you could sell it from here, that'd be dope. You know, anything like that. You know, it's gonna be $5 because I put a lot of money and hard work into this. So, I mean, I gotta sell it for $5. You know what I mean?
No, I feel
And I'm mostly gonna sell it doing that and doing shows. And on Bandcamp, it's gonna be like a name your price. So if you want to support me, you know, give me whatever you want for money. You know what I mean? But I'm not telling you what to give me. But you know what I mean? If you want to help me out, I can make more music in the future if you do. You know what I mean?
No, hell yeah.
That's basically what I'm gonna tell them. Like, you don't have to buy it, but it would be much appreciated if you know what I mean? I'll be able to further my career if you do, you know?
I agree with that, man. Dude, I'm always looking for artists to like interview. Like, you really want to talk to people on the show. Like,
I'll come on the show more often if you want, man. You know, we can just talk hip hop. That'd be cool. You know what I mean? Plus, I'll get known around here a little more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being on a show, you know what I mean? And I'll freestyle and do whatever, you know what I mean? It's cool because then it'll keep me motivated too, you know what I mean?
definitely,
So,
yeah. Do you know the sample to this track or not? Do you know the sample to this track? Or?
it's like some crazy deep sample. He showed me it before. It's from like 1972 or something like that. It's on a CD, a record that no one would ever know about. You know what I mean? I don't even know the name of it.
It's those samples, like they're classic.
It's crazy, right?
Keep telling yourself the clouds will open up. It's a part of growing up. You can never know enough. Finding yourself is mega tough. I know.
It's like my positive song, right? You know what I mean?
The clouds will open up. It's a part of growing up. You can never know enough. Finding yourself is mega tough. I know. There's nothing makes sense when you're a
It reminds me of a little Joey Badass vibe with the beat.
A little bit, yeah.
Like with the song Waves. That was Nothing Makes Sense by E.S.P, produced by Sleep Quill. Man, that track, another banging track off the upcoming debut.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's coming off of Weapon of Mass Production. So, when do you plan on dropping the album? You said within a month or so?
Yeah, you know, it's hard to quote me on that because I keep on adding to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'm never satisfied, and a lot of people keep asking me every day when it's dropping, and you know, it's hard to give an answer, but I'm hoping about, you know, a month to 2 months. You know?
2 months. All right.
Yeah.
So definitely for the new year, 2014, we should be on the lookout.
Oh, definitely, it'll be there. And the main reason is because I need to get my tracks mastered. You know, this is a mix of my tracks.
Yeah.
They'll sound even tighter when they're mastered. You know what I mean?
Man, they already tight enough for real. It's crystal quality,
Yeah,
especially compared to me. I'm just using old GarageBand and the.
No, that's how I
snowball
learned. That's how
microphone.
I learned from doing it, man. That's how I learned I could actually do this is from GarageBand.
Yeah.
That's how I started. That's how I started spitting. You know what I mean?
Piece
And
it
learning my
together.
voice, learning what I could do with my voice, and GarageBand is a great tool. I still use it before when I practice my songs. I'll write it, use GarageBand, practice it, see how it sounds, see what I could add for ad libs and whatnot. Then I bring that whole idea into the studio. It's a
Yeah.
great way to practice before you go to the studio. You know?
Yeah, definitely make. So you say you make like rough draft tracks on GarageBand?
Yeah, that's how I do it.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. No, that's cool. That's
It
cool.
might sound bootleg, but trust me, you can see the quality when it's done. You know?
Oh hell yeah, man! It's definitely worth all the work and effort you put into it for sure.
Or,
So, where can people purchase your debut album? How are you gonna?
well, right now, I'm definitely going to put it on Bandcamp.com. That's like the classic thing people do. You know, independent artists, they put it on Bandcamp.com.
What's the link for your Bandcamp.com?
I haven't come up with
you
it yet
haven't
because
come
I
up
haven't
with it
dropped
yet.
the album yet. You know what I mean? When I drop the album, I have that whole link.
Bandcamp.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, it's going to be a thing where it's going to be name your price. So if you like my music and you want to support it, you know, you can buy it or